Hey, hello guys! We're gonna head out into the wilderness and get some stuff done here in the DLC. So, Vector has been here since the start of stream. 10 gauge is joining in.
Ships just up ahead.
Ships? But are we not still leagues from the shore?
Anyway, Vector or 10 gauge, we are currently in the DLC, The Rising Tide. I think I did all the quests in town. Let me just check real quick. Okay, we did. Got him. Anyway, they're giving significant enough of EXP still that
The quickest route to the surge is due east, past the second galley.
that I think we should just kill these along the way.
What do you imagine happens when an icon of water gets angry?
Really, brother? Did you have to ask?
Joshua, what the fuck is your problem, dude? You were the one who initially was all super surprised that there were ships here, and then when Clive actually asks, you're like, idiot. We are all the Vectorettes, except for you, since you are the most famous streamer. Oh shit, look at these guys. Tonberries! Tonberry creepers!
Foul creatures consumed by their hatred for everyone and everything.
Everything save sharp knives, it seems.
So yeah, Tomberries. Tomberries are a thing in this. It's great. I love Tomberries. Creepy little fucks. Oh, we have enough points now. Hang on. The next one we're learning is gonna be Shiva's at 1,000. No, it's gonna be Dancing Steel. Odin. Okay, 525. Then we're gonna learn. Did some bad games in Heroes of the Storm, but you didn't play ranked? Well, at least you didn't play ranked. Is there still enough people that really play ranked?
I can smell the sea.
It's not far now.
When you say bad, you mean your team playing bad? I figured. Look at that, guys.
How will we reach the surge?
We'll follow the coastline north. There's a bridge that'll take us across to the cape.
Huh. What's cool that they still got enough players to actually have ranks be a thing.
Might I inquire about the ray of light?
It's what prevents the surge from being reclaimed by the sea. And Dwalius by his people.
Don't worry, we'll get into that. No windows. Get out of here. Okay, so I'm not gonna bother fighting the Adamantoids down there. Just because they take too long. It's a lesser Accolon. Archelon.
You said before that the child is bound within the surge. But you've yet to tell us how we're meant to reach him. I trust we won't have to hold our breath.
No. The surge wraps around the cape without engulfing it. If we continue to its tip, there is a path down to the seabed. And the wave's origin.
All right. It won't be the first dominant we've met at the bottom of the ocean.
Look at that frozen wave. That's super cool looking. Alright, the Surge. A lone wave rises to eternity, cursed never to break, the hands of time having stilled the rage of its tortured creator.
It's not much further now.
The path seems well kept. Do you and the villagers often come this way?
Only me. Once every new moon without fail. It is my duty both as village elder and Dwalius's descendant.
But surely no one blames you for what happened. Why should you bear the responsibility alone?
You misunderstand. I do it because I want to. To show him that he isn't alone, and that there are still some of us who would see an end to his suffering. Suffering you will soon witness with your own eyes.
For both of those who're just tuning in,
The forest grows quickly here. Left unattended, the path would be reclaimed in a matter of moons.
This chick here, Shula, she requested that someone come help and free the dominant of Leviathan the Lost.
Does the light point the way to the child?
It does indeed.
Which is where we're headed. Over to meet the dominant of Leviathan the Lost.
Look at all the droplets of water suspended in midair.
Where they have remained untouched by time for 80 summers.
It's not right.
No. It's not.
There. Up ahead. Down in the center. Follow me.
He's still primed.
I'll never forget my first priming. The fear. And I was old enough to understand what was happening. One can only imagine how this poor child felt.
He is the victim of an unforgivable sin, committed by people who saw him as nothing but a means to an end. He must be so frightened.
Then I'll ease his burden.
You don't mean?
I'm not going to hurt him. Contrary to the tales, I don't go around killing dominants for no reason. What if I told you there was a way to remove Wallace's icon?
I tell you, you were a madman.
It's hard to believe, I know. But it can be done. Though, it isn't without its risks. Part of the icon remains no matter what.
So, it might still come to violence.
I don't know. It depends on the dominant. I've seen things end well, and I've seen things spiral out of control. But I do know one thing. If we turn our backs on this child, there will be no end to his suffering. And I think that a worse fate than the alternative. Don't you?
Very well. Do what you must. And whatever happens, I will own the consequences.
Don't be afraid, little one. Let me bear the weight. Hush now. It's going to be all right.
Is it done?
I think so. I can feel the icon inside me. But something's wrong. He wasn't just afraid. He was angry. All right. Let's see what you've given me.
Good job, 10 gauge. Power of Water. Clive has claimed a portion of the icon Leviathan's essence. Attuning with Leviathan not only changes the elemental aspect of Clive's magic spells, but also allows access to several new iconic abilities, such as Cross Swell, an inescapable rush of water that pummels enemies from multiple angles. Leviathan's Seed. Leviathan's iconic feat, Serpent's Cry, can be used to summon to Clive's off-arm a sea-splitting serpent capable of dealing precision strikes to enemies at great distances. Pressing R1 in this state will unleash a tidal torrent, multiple bursts of water capable of forcefully knocking back smaller creatures, while R2 will force a powerful jet of water, a tidal stream, at enemies situated just outside of melee range. Using these attacks will deplete your tidal gauge, becoming unavailable when the gauge is empty. The gauge will slowly replenish over time, but can be refilled quicker by pressing L2. Time the second press perfectly with the on-screen prompt to immediately refill the gauge, as well as earn unlimited ammunition for a short period of time. The tidal gauge is also replenished when successfully executing a precision dodge. While using Serpent's Cry, the circle button while dodging will cause Clive to roll in the air, extending the dodge even further. R1 tidal torrent can be used while rolling by pressing R1. Only Leviathan's abilities are available during this battle.
Is that Leviathan?
Just another, but a formidable adversary nonetheless.
Oh, look. It has friends.
Alright, time for a little bit of cross-swell action. Here you go, guys. Not the biggest fan of Deluge, but... It was very good for breaking enemies, though. Yeah, look how quickly that one just fell. And with rapid strikes that build up the damage meter very quickly. You got one when you weren't here, and it wasn't nearly as satisfying. Also, it's way easier to see slimes on PC. It is. It has been noted that in some early texts, our forebears would oftentimes refer to crystals as orbs. And while the use of the capital letters to this day cannot be satisfactorily explained, the term itself is most likely one scholar's interpretation of texts transcribed from a much older language. The pale blue fragment taken from the body of the Edgy, Pericos, however, is indeed an orb, and while nigh flawless and teeming with wild whirls and eddies of pure life energy, by no means does it warrant rendering in the uppercase. I think it's a Final Fantasy I reference, because I'm pretty sure the crystals were called orbs in that.
Is everyone all right?
He seems calmer now.
Can you do with all this pee?
You said Walius was frozen in time. But he knew we were here. How?
I don't know. He's never reacted to anything or anyone. Until now.
The child has been bound for nigh on a century. If he has been conscious from the first, we must remove the seal at once.
It's not that simple. I wish it were, but... there's more to this tale. It would be better if I explained back at the village.
I see. Then let's return before it gets dark.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Walias. I will make this right.
She will make this right. And she will fart. That's right, Mira.
So, part of Leviathan is inside you now, is it? Does it hurt?
No. Not anymore, anyway.
Good. Because I still have need of your strength. If you want to know the rest, we should head to the Witten Hall.
Of course.
Hey, Gage, have you ever been to a Witten Hall? Oh shit, they got stuff I can upgrade now. Hang on.
Bastard things.
What do you got for me, dude?
Yes?
Ooh, we can make Tide Strike. It's not as good as what we have, but we'll make it anyway. First did the tide, the water rising as if it were some mighty whale stranding itself upon the shore.
I'd like to see another smith do better. A good tide to you.
So this is the weapon we just got. Tide Strike. Pretty cool looking sword. I like the blue color to it. It is, however, not better than what we had, so... If I back to the Omega weapon. It's not much worse than the Omega weapon, though. A wild Meditite appears.
To understand the spell which binds Walyas, you must first know who we are and what drove my forebears to commit such an atrocity.
This tapestry
Is our story, the one that brought us here. After generations of wandering, my people sought refuge in northeastern Storm, some 170 years ago. But in exchange for our safety, the Gregorian Church demanded we renounce our faith and branded us heretics when we could not.
To be exterminated, as a lesson to others.
And so was it chronicled in the Imperial histories, for anything less would have made the Church seem weak. Yet a handful survived. The few who did fled north and west, and in doing so discovered two things that would forever shape our fates. The first was an old legend, revealing how to make your very own Mother Crystal.
I've heard that one before.
Yes, yet it gave them new hope, however false. Our ancestors convinced themselves that they could recreate the divine if they could only find a strong enough heart. A living being capable of channeling torrents of ether. And the heavens provided.
A dominant. Well, yes.
They'd stumbled across a nostrum in an ancient ruin, which they believed could provoke a sudden outpouring of a creature's ether. They meant to enrage his icon. Leviathan would have destroyed everything, had our people not made their second important discovery. A means to stop time itself.
Where did they find that? The Northerners had no such magics, or they would have used them.
When our ancestors first arrived, the land was uninhabited, save for an old witch who lived on the highest peak. Her body had been consumed by the curse, a cruel payment for her long years of service to the Northern Thanes. So desperate were they to prevent the fall of Drake's Eye, they'd forced her to devise a spell to stop time.
But Drake's Eye did fall.
It did. When she finally perfected the necessary magics, it was already too late. As punishment for her failure, the Thanes exiled her to this forsaken place to live out the few days she had left. Knowing her suffering, our ancestors cared for her as best they could, and in return, she gifted them her spell. That even though she should die, her legacy might live on. So armed with both the knowledge of the ancients and the secrets of time, our ancestors settled upon an ambitious plan. They would create a new Mother Crystal and enchant it that it might endure for all eternity. Thus would our people's wandering, our suffering, finally end, and prosperity visit us once more. And all it would require was the sacrifice of a single child. A small price to pay, or so they believed.
Another victim of man's blind reliance on the Mother Crystals. So we know the seal's source. How do we break it and restore the flow of time?
Do you recall the dome of light on top of the cliffs to the west? Inside lie the ruins of an old temple. It was there that the witch built the Vare, a conduit of sorts that channels her remaining ether into the Surge. But it's been a long time since anyone set foot in the place. And now, there are others who claim it as their own.
Hold
Then we
this.
shall go prepared for a fight. That said, it may be best if one of us stays behind.
You think the village could be in danger?
We saw the ether flow from Wallius in all directions, but only encountered a single familiar. There will be more. And should even one make its way here, I doubt the walls could hold it back for long.
Then I shall stay. The Phoenix will see your people safe, tributary.
You have my thanks.
Very well. We should depart at once. I fear time may no longer be a luxury we can afford.
The
All
Vale
right.
is not easy to find. We must first head north, and then west, deeper into the forest.
Nope, we don't get to do that. We get to go do quests.
Sign of the child.
You don't think he's...
Hi, Mini Cat.
Just try to breathe. That's it.
Is everything all right?
Ah, you're the outsider. I'm Fanit, healer by trade. And this is Talor, one of my patients. He took ill not long after you arrived.
Nothing too serious, I hope.
I hope so too, but
But
this affliction, it's like nothing I've ever seen before. He complains of feeling chilled to the bone, but there's no fever to go with it. And my most powerful antalgic hasn't done a thing to ease the pain in his chest. I'm starting to wonder if his condition might require a different kind of treatment altogether. Shula said that you were here to help us. You couldn't help me, could you?
Happy
I'd
to
be
begin.
happy to. If I can.
You can, don't worry. All I need you to do is speak to Talor's son, Pavat, over at the forge, and ask if he knows what his father was up to before he came down sick. Something must have caused this, and I want to find out what. The trouble is, Talor's too weak to speak, and I can't leave his side for long. So while you talk to Pavat, I'll pay his wife word a quick visit, just in case she knows anything.
All right.
All right, let's go speak to Pavad about what ails his father. Engage Vector, what ails your father?
Oh, do you need something?
I do. Though not from the forge. Fanit asked me to speak with you. She's looking into the cause of your father's illness and wondered if you could shed any light on the matter.
I see. Sorry. She shouldn't have dragged you into this.
It's no trouble, really. Tell me, did your father do anything out of the ordinary before he fell ill?
Not that I know of. But then I hardly see him. He's always out and about, like. Well, at least he was. Suppose he might have been a bit more fidgety than usual, but apart from that...
When you say out and about, where does he usually go?
Just round the village. Wanders over to Blazier's place most days. He's a fisher who lives on the other side of the fount. They're old friends. Maybe he knows something I don't.
Maybe. I'll go and speak with him.
What ails your father is none your business. That's rude. Harry, I'm trying to help him, and you're all like, no. Like, didn't you use the data guy named Blazier?
Greetings, stranger. What can I do for you?
Your name is Blazier, is it not? Pavad tells me you're a friend of his father's, and that the two of you may have spent some time together prior to his illness.
His illness? Talor's never been ill a day in his life. I don't know why he'd start now.
Oh, Fanny doesn't know either. It was she who asked me to look into his recent behavior on the off chance it might explain how his condition arose.
Oh, I suppose there was something that struck me as a bit odd. He kept asking about the woods. Did you see anything strange on your way back from the shore? Are you certain? Do you swear? That kind of thing. I didn't, of course. But he wouldn't let it go. It was like he was expecting something to happen. It was just a matter of when. Not that I know what. But he never told me anyway.
Well, that certainly does sound unusual. And it might just be what Fanet is looking for. Thank you.
Hi, Miriam.
Don't mention it. Oh, and when you say Talor, wish him the best from me, yeah?
Let's see what the healer makes of this.
Alright, let's go talk to Fanet, and then we will take a quick break.
I spoke with Werder, but she couldn't tell me anything. Did you have any better luck?
Nothing conclusive. But there was one thing. Lazir, the fisherman, told me that Talor had taken a sudden interest in the forest of late. He kept asking him if he'd seen anything unusual there on his way back from the coast, but never let on what exactly he was expecting him to have seen.
The forest between here and the coast. Surely not. But then... I can't say for sure. But I think Talor's illness might have some connection to the Tomberries. You may have encountered them during your time here. The small, scaly beastmen.
And you think they may have caused Talor's illness?
I do. At least in a way. And if I'm right, it's no wonder the treatments I've been trying didn't work. Oh, I know it's a lot to ask, but would you go down into Father's Fell for me? There's an altar there. And if my fears are true, an offering upon it.
What is going on here?
Please. I'll explain everything when you return, but time flows fast. I beg you, make haste for Father's Fell and take the offering from the altar. Talor's life may depend on it.
Very well.
Alright. We're gonna go do that here in just a moment.